You are listening to The Mindful Messes, where tamed chaos meets honest conversations. We are glad you're here. Let's begin.
All right, Sabika, let's jump right into it. Think about this. Friendship is one of the few places where we have total freedom, or at least we can expect to have total freedom. We don't choose our families, but I think we can choose our friends or people who want to walk with in the later stages of our life. I came across this saying that described friendship as that each friend represents a world in us. That world doesn't even exist until they arrive. It's only through meeting them that a new world is born. And today we are going to be talking about those worlds that we both have brought into life in each other and share some stories as well. So tell me, Sabika, have I discovered a world within you?
Very, very interesting topic again. And I love this, Uruj, how us at Mindful Messes explore so many different topics and talk about so many different things and bring our experiences to life, which is amazing. And love that people are listening as well, tuning in to our life, which we are sharing, and which and this is actually very meaningful for us also, because all of these topics of our life is getting and helping us to know ourselves more. So this is very helpful for us, and if we can help somebody else, because everybody is in the same boat, different lives, but very similar experience on this planet if you are a human. Definitely. So friendship, yes. Have I touched your life or discovered that space in your life? Yes, definitely. And how we became friends is also very interesting. So I don't know you as a childhood friend. I don't know you through, we are not even from the same country. So, and a very interesting thing that we are from countries who are always fighting with each other, India and Pakistan. But we are so good and so close friends here, living in Australia. So how I met you, how we met was, I know your husband before, so through a common friend. I met your husband, and then we met you. And then that common friend is not in the picture anymore. So we'll touch on that later as well, because not everybody who come to your life has to stay. They have a purpose and then they leave. So his purpose was to make us meet, and because of him, that's why I want to acknowledge, because of him we are friends,
I
because
know.
he introduced us.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think that we did take our time in forming that bond that we share at the moment. The most difficult conversations that we have with each other. I think we took quite a lot of time. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's about around 2017 I met you.
Yeah.
2016 is when I came here, and 2017 Christmas time, when we drove to Seven Apostles and we were going to Melbourne, and then we were coming back, and you, both of you and Ayan, all three of you used to live in Mount Gambier.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is a small town in South Australia. And we just stopped by while going back home to Adelaide, and we was like, okay, one night, and we extended our trip to 4 nights.
Yes.
And that was the first time I met you. I didn't even know you, but then it's something, it just clicks.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's and that's the vibration which we call vibes. So that's what is the vibration of a person, which is click. The first thing we clicked on is we both loved reading.
Yes. Yeah.
And you showed me all your book collection. You have an amazing book collection. I mostly read through books from library, so I don't
Yeah.
have as big a collection as you have. So and the subjects you read, and then we spoke about, have you read this? Have you read that? And then we just get on talking when we met. And I don't know how we decided that okay, now we will extend for one more night, and we will
Yeah.
extend for one more night,
Yeah.
and then we celebrated New Year
Yeah,
together.
yes, exactly. And I think we spent it in a TV lounge watching some
Game of
movies.
Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yes. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. So Game of Thrones together. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was an amazing time. And
Yeah.
then when you guys moved here, I think before that you came here once and then you stayed with us for a few
Yes.
days. And then when you guys moved here, we just became friends and started meeting more. But it took time, as you said. Definitely, it took time. It took
Yeah.
years before we reached at that point to say that yes, you are my close friend
Yes.
who I can
Yeah.
confide in, who I can talk to about my problems,
Yeah.
about any challenges I have in life, frustrations, things which are not going well, things which are going well. So it
Yeah.
takes a lot to develop that relationship.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And I was when you were talking about the vibe, I do feel that I have fell in that trap of clicking and having that vibe with a person, and it then does not turn out to be what turned out for us, because I think we took our time in knowing each other, and I give that credit to being self-aware, knowing yourself better. Because if you don't know yourself, you usually are running away from your own insecurities or the confusions you have, and you just look for solutions in other people. And when you share those problems, or that moment of connection that you feel, when the other person is sharing their stories, and you think that, oh my God, I've been through this. But what we miss is how the other person has perceived that same phenomena. They would have perceived it in an entirely different way. So I think knowing yourself better before jumping into a relationship is much better, because you can keep the expectations clear as to knowing what I'm going to be expecting from you, or what this person is going to be expecting from me, or what can I accept about this person and what can I not accept. Because things that we can't change, we have to accept them. So it's really important to know what is it that I can and I cannot accept about that person. And I think we both gave each other quite a lot of time.
Yeah, and it comes with time, right? We make relations, and then, as I said, we click. Sometimes we click with a lot of people. It's just the vibes when we meet, and it's a situation, it's that moment. But then when we get to know that person more, we might not agree with
Exactly.
with the
Yeah.
values that person has and the values we have. We might not share that. So then what do? Just take a step back and say that, okay, now I am not in relation with this person, or I don't want to spend more time with them. So it's very tricky, because you become friends, and then there could be a point where you don't agree with each other, and then you have to take that hard call to take a step back. And it comes with age also. When you're younger, you have a lot of time to spend, and then you have a lot of friends. And then as you become older, because the time shrinks, your time is with your family, kids, multiple kids, their things, and your expectations towards your life as well, your goals and what you want to do. So how much time do you have to spend on relations? That also should not make you very isolated. And you would agree that quality over quantity, and
Yes.
you are a person who have quality friends. Thank you, I'm talking about myself. So very small, close knit or group of people you have.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
yes, where we are spending our time with, where we are spending our energy, and also not being isolated and not being alone.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a very good point. But then I think it's very important to distinguish between the fact that you're keeping a relationship just because you're scared of isolation, or you know your values well enough that you think that they're worth standing up for than that relationship. As I said, knowing yourself and the person that you are in a relationship with in terms of friendship, that what is it that you can accept about that person, right? And naturally I'm a very impulsive person, and you know that about me probably. But with age and experiences and a lot of heartbreaks, you you learn to stop and take a deep breath and evaluate things around you before building that relationship, because as you said, that we learn to value time as we grow older, right? And you're right, I have very few friends, but I can assure you that I've got really positive friends in my life. And most of them are actually people who I wouldn't talk for weeks and sometimes months. And I call them after a month. There's no complaint about, hey, where have you been? Why haven't you called? Why haven't you texted? We start exactly where we stopped the previous conversation. I don't have to think if I'm in a problem, and the other person, the fear that, oh my God, she's gonna feel that I haven't called for such a long time. No, there's nothing like that. You just start, and then somehow they are capable of flipping that negative situation into the most positive thing ever. And it's like some kind of magic happens. And yeah, those are the kind of friends I have. Very few, but I'm very grateful for the few connections that I've built in my life.
Yeah, and that also happens with time, as we spoke about. So it's not that the first day friendship and you can build that connection, that no expectation, whenever you call, you just connect back. And also, if you are not in the proximity to each other, then it's very hard to maintain that relationship as well. But then if you have built that trust and built that connection earlier on in life, when you were together, and then because of some reasons, moving countries or something, you have now grown apart, then even if you are calling that person once in a month, you just start from where you are. That's the relationship, the beauty of a relationship.
Yeah.
But I have, as you know, I'm a very social person, and I have a lot of people in life, but then there's this outer circle and inner circle. And very interesting thing I read recently, it's a Dunbar's number. So Robin Dunbar is an anthropologist, and what the concept of Dunbar's number is that you can only have 150 connections in your life. And that's not something which he has just put. He is an anthropologist, or he reads human past and present. It's based on the way we were as hunter-gatherers and the groups we used to live in. So one person can have 150 connections, which is amazing. But out of those 150 connections, the love connections or the inner circle is only 5.
Oh my God.
And then friends are only 15.
Wow.
So 5 very close friends you love and confide in, and 15 friends, and rest of the people are your acquaintances. So and definitely it's a very disputable concept as well. A lot of other people have disputed that, because it depends on how the person is, how the human is. If a person is very friendly and can maintain multiple relationships in multiple countries, then yes, but generally that's the count. So it's very interesting, and that how you manage your relationships Some people you spend more time with, some people you spend less time with, and then what those relationships are giving you in life as well. Because friend is just a very common term. You, my friend, this person is my friend, that person is my friend. When I refer to somebody, I say, XX, yeah, he's my friend or she's my friend.
Mm.
But then what does that mean? What kind of friend? There are
Mm.
a lot of different kinds and depths of friendship as well.
Yeah, that's true. For me, the most important is I'm allowed to be vulnerable in front of a friend of mine.
Hmm.
I think we as a human being, I think that the mask that we wear is to hide that ego, that vulnerability. I think as human beings, it's very hard for us to appear as weak, emotionally weak before another human being.
Hmm.
And if I'm able to do that, if I'm able to put my guards down in front of a person, I would call that person would be in that, in that 5 to 15 count that you were saying.
Hmm.
Let's not too far away. I think a few weeks ago, we had a very hard conversation. I'm not
Hmm.
going to detail of that. But after, when I thought about it after, and I came to you that, hey, Sabika, I reacted because I was being insecure,
Hmm.
right? And I think that would have been a very hard thing for me to say, for telling you that, okay, I was insecure.
Hmm.
Or, and if for me to be able to tell you that and for you to understand that and coming back and telling me that I know you're a human being,
Hmm.
it's very natural for you to think the way that you're thinking and you put up with it.
Hmm.
And it was very emotional for me
Hmm.
because I don't think it's easy to come clean with a friend. First is you're scared of being vulnerable,
Hmm.
you're scared of being judged,
Hmm.
you're scared of how the other person is going to take. Is
Hmm.
the person going to just leave me? Or so you're having a lot of those thoughts and battles in your head.
Hmm.
But me saying that to you and you accepting is was for me a one step ahead or a ladder up in our relationship.
Hmm.
So that is the most important criteria for me, that I can actually tell a friend that, okay, I messed it up, this is what I was thinking. That is most important thing.
Yes, realization and coming back. Yes, and you
Yeah.
touched on a few very good points like vulnerability,
Yeah.
courage. Without vulnerability and courage, any relationship cannot form. You can't be true
Mm.
to your friend or your close person without that. And what you were saying in that what we had and exchanged a few weeks back is clear communication.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think this is something I have learned with time as well, and still I'm a work in progress. I know my shortfalls as well, but what I have learned and still learning is if I have an issue with one person, if I have something to which is not aligning with me with the person, I need to discuss that with that person and not with others. So
Yes.
when that happens, everybody else, if I'm discussing that with somebody else, they put their view of the
Mm.
world on it.
Mm.
They put their perception and the way they understood what I told them, and then they start giving advices, do this, do that. But then at the first step, if I have to discuss something about someone who is close to me, if I discuss with that same person, it will be very easy.
Mm.
And it will be easy for me and for the other person and for the relationship. And
Yeah.
that's respecting that relationship as well. But also there are two things. So one is personal and then one is professional.
Mm.
And when you mix those roles, that's when I think the boundaries start to blur. So if you are a friend, that's one role. But then if you start working together, if you are business partners, then that's another role.
Yes.
So then that's the only communication which could clarify that, okay, this is how we play friend, and this is how we play colleagues or professional partners or business partners or whatever other thing we are doing. If we are part of a same group, a religious group, or any other thing which we are doing apart from friendship, because then playing those different roles will have different challenges, because every role has a goal. So if your goal is not mutual and not understood, then you will have a fallout.
Yeah.
But then that will affect the friendship if this is not clear at the start. So,
Yes,
and then
yeah.
so I think it needs to be reiterated as well, because things definitely happen, experiences happen. But if we are open to communication, then
Yeah, exactly. But then it must have been hard for you as well, because you'd be having the same fear as I had, that how is she going to react to it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you coming and that coffee, and you just having that verbal diarrhea, and you just said it all in one flow, and I could see that, okay, she's nervous. So you would probably have thought all that through.
Yes.
So you did your bit as well, and I did my bit, as we both did our bits. But I think we didn't speak about it in detail, but now you know that I did reflect on it a lot. It was, I think it was a make or break kind of situation. And I think we moved past it.
Yeah. And then it boils down to what you give importance to. So what's the priority in your life? Are you ready to lose this?
Yeah.
Because the other thing is a priority. So I am ready to lose a relationship because my time is valuable. Or I am not ready to lose this relationship because this other thing which I want to do can be done in a different way. So that's a priority and the choice at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that touches also on the concept of how many kinds of friendship there are. We have friends who we get something from, so we gain something out of them. That's my friendship of like getting something from them. And then there are my friends who are my sounding board, or I just go to them because they are good listeners and they listen to all my problems. So that's that. And then there's a friendship of virtue. So that's when that it takes a long time to reach there, where you're completely understanding each other, growing with each other, helping each other, not competing with each other. So the concept, what I'm saying is friends of utility, friends for pleasure, and friends for virtue. So that's those are the categories of friends we have in our life.
Exactly. Yeah. Now the competing part, there's another thing that I want to say. I was so grateful. We went for the dinner that you had arranged for Eid, and one of your friends said something positive about me in the podcast, and I just loved it how you called me the next day and you actually celebrated that, and you were like, did she tell you? I asked her, I told her to tell it to you directly, and I just loved it, knowing the kind of person you are. You're so competitive, I know that, but it is so beautiful and cute. You actually celebrated that, and you were like, I need to work on this, but I really wanted her to come and tell you this on her own. So it's I think we're in a good place.
And we have experienced so much over the years. Like last year we went on a trip to Europe together. So that doesn't happen. So there's another common friend of ours who actually said that this is a very courageous thing you guys did, because it's very hard to go on a trip to a foreign country for more than 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks with someone. And living with them day in and day out and 24 hours. And that was a different side of us, which we experienced as well, because we have, like me and John as a family, have different way of living, and you guys have a different way of living. So how can we come together and be mutual so that we are not disrupting each other? And then
Yeah.
circumstance also, you have a grown up child, I have
Yeah.
a toddler who was 1.5 years at that time, and then just, yeah, all those tantrums and
I
everything.
remember in train.
So yeah, but then we are together here and we are enjoying the moment. That could only happen if you have had a history of a good relationship, then only it
Yeah.
will work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was so beautiful.
It was, yeah, it was amazing trip. I want to ask you something about boundaries.
Hmm.
How do you, what are your thoughts about boundaries? I feel that the word boundary and the self love and self preservation is become way too overrated enough to the extent, like I said, that it's hard to be vulnerable with your friends. It's hard to tell your friends who supposedly are such an important tribe in your life that you're upset about something, because what you might hear in return is, it sounds like a you problem. And I know where this is coming from. This is used a lot in therapy. But I think I've been in therapy as well, and most of that you problem, or it's not your problem, it's their problem, is, I think, used to stop that negative self-talk, to get out of the self-blaming pattern that we have built over time. But I think that's been misused a lot in relationships as well. I think it's very important to be aware that it's not you who is the problem, but then also be open towards your friend being emotionally weak in front of you. What are your thoughts about that?
What I believe is, if you value the relationship, you have to keep on nurturing that relationship, and you have to be vulnerable, you have to be open. If you are not open and hiding something, and there are some, you're thinking something else but communicating something else, then it will never work. So that whole concept of boundary is correct. I agree with that, because it's protecting yourself and your energy with what doesn't matter. But friendship and close relationship, it matters. It matters to me. I want this person to be with me, and they enhance some area of my life. They touch some area of my life which I can't live without.
Yeah.
So that's what is their impact. Everybody has a special place in someone's life. So if I'll not be open, and if I'll close and put boundaries around that, then it's my loss. I think it's my choice, my loss. So
Yeah.
so I don't agree with closing and putting boundaries to friends. But yes, in certain conditions, certain circumstances, and with certain people, you definitely need to put those boundaries. They
Yeah.
can still be in that 150 circle. They can still be your acquaintances, business friends, outer circle. You have to protect your energy from, but you still have to work with them. But the close ones, I don't think so. The putting boundaries will work ever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not close.
Yeah. People who would love you would respect those boundaries as well, because I've never personally believed in that concept of you can do, you can annoy your friend in any way you want. I think good friendship is about respecting those boundaries as well. And when I said that we have too many boundaries now, this is an overrated term. It doesn't mean that I'm expecting myself or anyone else to be a doormat for, for the most toxic people around.
Correct. Yeah.
But I have noticed that it has the isolation and loneliness, especially loneliness, is considered as a pandemic nowadays. So because first the COVID happened, and secondly, so many boundaries. Nobody wants to come out of their comfort zone, and you can't be there for someone when you don't want to come out of your comfort zone. And the other thing, which I'm beginning to dislike so much, and I hear it so much, is accept me the way I am.
Hmm. Hmm.
I am just not happy with this. I think, I don't know, like if you behave in a different way, in a way that is not affecting your ideas or
Hmm.
ideology or your identity,
Hmm.
why is it so hard to love a person the way they want to be loved?
Hmm. Mhm.
It doesn't change your identity. It doesn't take away your freedom from you, does it?
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know, but I'm just disliking this term of accept me the way I am. I think it's a very selfish approach and not practical enough, because basically I look at it as, if you're telling someone to accept me the way I am, or we can just part ways, is basically saying it's my way or the highway.
Yeah, so sacrifice is a part of any relationship, I would say. Yes. So when we tweak or accept certain things and tweak our nature to accommodate that other person as well, that's what sacrifice is. But that is only done if you really want that relationship in your life. And as you said at the start, that we choose
Mm.
friends, it's not given to us, it's not relationships like which God built, like mother, father, siblings, kids. There's a choice to choose friends, but then there's a choice to leave friends as well.
Yeah.
So if a person is like, accept me as I am, then I think that person will be more lonely or alone as they progress in life, because then not everybody will like that and not everybody will accept that. For any relationship you have to make certain kind of sacrifice. Yes, you should not be changing your identity, you should not be a different person to just
Mm.
meet that relationship, though belonging is a core human value. You touched on that as well
Yeah.
earlier also. So belonging, yes. So sometimes I do that. I need to belong here in this tribe, in this group. So I change myself to fit in.
Mm.
And that's a completely different concept. It works sometimes and it doesn't work most of the times. So it just,
Mm.
you have to think which phase of life you are in, how much time you have to do that. But if you're not ready to tweak a little bit as well and just my way or highway, I don't think you'll
That
go
was
far with the
exactly
with
right.
any
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah,
Yeah.
in any, exactly right. Yeah, personally, I don't agree with changing your identity or thoughts just to blend in a group or in a society. We always have a choice to leave or to take a step back or even to take a break. I think taking a break can be very important. It gives you that overall picture, a picture of if you are able to survive without that person or without that relationship, or it gives you also an opportunity to reflect and think that how much of your principles are you able to let go. So that is very important to know.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that space gives you the opportunity. The reason I came into that boundaries question, it happened with me recently. I wouldn't mention the name of the friend because I haven't asked her for it. But recently, one of my friend was upset with me because of something that I did unintentionally. And when she came to me and she said that, hey, I'm really upset about this, and you were the last person that I expected this from. My first reaction was like, not my problem. It's she who is thinking this way, right? It's not my mistake. It's not me. So she needs to understand this is the kind of person I am, and she needs to understand this communication, and she's built up this thought based on her own patterns or whatever. But then later on, when I sat with that thought with myself, and I was like, what is the use of being friends if I don't allow her to come and tell me and to express to me that I'm upset with you about this? It's better that she comes and tells me than than most of the people who just go around and talk about it. And that kind of made me realize that I think I have been doing that a lot. I have been stuck recently in that self protection where you're trying to protect yourself from the negativity around you, because you feel emotionally drained or you're not in the right state of mind. And you end up doing that to protect yourself. But it does lead to isolation. It does lead to low quality friendships, I think. In a relationship, we should always leave, in my opinion, we should always leave space to breathe and also to be vulnerable. That trust is very important.
Yeah. And the emotional draining, which you said, I think that comes from having experienced losses in friendship. So we don't talk about this, and we don't see therapists or psychologists or counselors for such kind of losses. We take help when we lose a person to life, like they are no more, they die. There's a lot of grieving which happens when we lose a friend
Yes.
who's still there, fortunately, but not in our life. So, and sometimes it just happens like instantly. Somebody just decides that, okay, now I don't think you fit in my circle, and I stop talking to you. So that's a choice, but then they don't leave you with an option. No discussion, no coming up and discussing and how we want to progress with it. It's just, I don't want to spend more energy on this relationship, and you're not on the same page because you are at a loss. And sometimes it also happens even after discussions. So there are a lot of relationships, and I have those experiences in my personal life where we try for this relationship to work because we value the relationships, and I have done that. I've given first chance, second chance, third chance,
I've witnessed it.
multiple chances
Yeah.
for a relationship because I don't want to lose that relationship. I
Yeah.
value the person, I value the relationship, I value the friendship, but then still it doesn't work. There's somewhere the values do not match, and the same things repeat again and again. And that's nobody's fault. I think it's not a blame game. There might be some things which I do which are not acceptable by the other person, some things which they do which is not acceptable by me, and we are on that same turn in a different situation again and again. So then we have to make that hard choice that do we want to continue like that with that toxicity and with that spending our energy to just put these band-aids and keep going on, or we just part ways, and that's a loss. And because of that, then we become so self-protective that we, because of that experience and baggage, apply that to other relations as well.
Yes.
So that's how human we are, right? Yeah.
So what you're saying makes complete sense, and I've been in that kind of a pattern where I kind of became a little indifferent towards a lot of relationships. And later on, I realized that that is a process of self preservation, right? And then I realized that we are here in this world to play a certain role. Every one of us. I have a role to play in your life, and you have a role to play in my life. And I came across this in Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. I don't know, I'm sure you've heard about the book. It's not a book that you can read in one go or in a certain chronological order, but it's got really nice stuff when you're feeling very down. It's a good read. And that's how I came across that that all of us have a role to play in each other's life. And if I just put that guard around me 24/7, and I'm just looking at things with, okay, I'm just meeting this person, just hello, hi, having dinner and chat, and that's it, right? I'm just going through life as a bystander. I'm not playing any role in myself or the other person. So the basic truth, or the very simple truth of life is that suffering or pain is a part of us. It's inevitable. We're going to experience that pain in one way or the other, right? There are going to be people coming in my life who are going to hurt me. I'm going to be in someone's life and hurt them in some way. And that's what life is.
Yeah. So not every friendship is here to stay, but every friendship or relationship teaches us a lot of things, because that's the experience which gets added in our life to make us more wiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you look at it, right? Just like I said previously, that it's a perception, right?
Yeah.
And I think we learn from our experiences only if we are self-reflective or if we are aware. So a lot of things, a lot of baggages that we carry, they come from childhood, as you know, according to psychology. And I have firm belief that they do. We do internalize a lot of things from the very beginning of our life. But when you're aware, or when you reflect on your actions, those things, they don't go away from you, right? But you know that they're there. So you don't listen to them. Okay?
Yeah.
They come up and you just tell them that, okay, I know you're there, just stay there, but I'm not going to try to hurt this relationship because of what has happened in the past. And it's very hard.
It's very hard. You
It's
need to learn
hard.
that and sit with yourself.
Yes.
And understand yourself, and it's a process. Not everybody does that, because that's how it is.
I feel that sitting with yourself is the hardest thing one can do,
Yes.
because our greatest enemy is our mind and thoughts, and we're always trying to escape from them
Yeah.
in one way or the other. And that's why I feel that we end up making unhealthy relationships just to escape from sitting with ourselves. And it's a hard thing to do, but I would rather sit with myself than allowing my past to run my present and consequently the future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's a thought which we should sit with.
Yes.
I think, and you all should sit with. It is an amazing discussion we had today.
Yeah.
And let us know how friendships have transformed you all as well. We would love to hear your experiences and share what we have maybe not touched in our discussions and our experiences. So we will get to learn as well.
Yeah.
So it's a shared space here, right? Of shared experiences.
Absolutely right. I would like to end this podcast by being grateful for having a friend like you in my life.
And I do the same.
Yeah. Just before coming here, my husband was telling me that you're doing all these things because you are in a very good emotional state at the moment. And I was like, but I wasn't when I started this. So it is because of friends like you that, you know, that push you or that help you discover the world that we were just talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for being there.
Yeah, and I think when you say push, this whole concept of mindful messes was started when you said, let's
Yeah.
do podcast.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay, let's do it.
But you said yes as well. I still remember, I was like, we need to do it. And you were like, you know, the way you are, what is our goal? And I'm impulsive, and someone talking to me about goal is like, oh my God, what's going on? And then you came up with a deadline that we need to have a date. And, you know, I think we
I
are
work
so
on a
different.
plan.
Yeah.
I always need to have a plan.
Exactly.
Whether it works or not, but I need to have a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if Sarmad is listening, your husband, he would kill me for it, because he's completely opposite. He's like, why do you need a plan? Always. But I need a plan for everything, even
Yes.
cooking, laundry, what time I'm doing that.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And I do accept that about you.
Oh, lovely, lovely talking to you, Ruj.
It is the same, Sabika. Thank you for being in my life.
Oh.
And we'll see you next week.
Take a moment today. Message that one friend who truly matters. Not the one you should talk to, but the one your heart feels safe with. And if this episode made you reflect on your friendships, share it with someone who's been part of your journey. This is us, Uruj and Sabika, signing off